When I, 22 female, was 14, I started dating Jace, who was 15 then. We were together for 3 years. We'd known each other for years and I always had the biggest crush on him. My sister Lauren, 23 now, knew. She was one of my best friends and I thought we'd told each other everything. But Lawrence and Jace were cheating behind my back and Lauren got pregnant. I didn't know at first and was the first person she told, and I supported her. It was only after she told our parents and they pushed her to say who the father was that she confessed. I broke up with Jace, who didn't care. He was done with me and wanted Lauren anyway, while Lauren kept begging me to forgive her for hurting me and begging me to still be close to her. I refused, and when Lauren moved in with Jace and his family, it was a relief. My parents attempted to force forgiveness on me. They took me to a church therapist and they had several talks with me about Lauren being my sister for life and Jace being just a high school boyfriend. All it did was push me away from my parents, and when I turned 18 I moved in with my grandma. I had very low contact with my parents and no contact with Lawrence and Jace. They got married just before the baby was born and I ignored the invitation. I ignored them when they had their first and then second kid. Lauren made several attempts to speak to me and apologize more, but I ignored them and I told my extended family that I wasn't going to change my mind. Some were quick to say I was a silly child and I'd regret throwing my sister away. Others said I was so young, and we both were, and hurting people's feelings when you're young happens, and why couldn't I hate Jace and forgive Lauren? My grandma always said nobody was making it better by pushing. Grandma stood by me through all of this. When Lauren asked her to help pull off a surprise reunion so she could speak to me, Grandma turned her down. She told Lauren she wasn't coming to the house as long as I lived there, and she told her she would not help her trick me or anything crazy like that. Some of the wider family, my parents included, are mad at Grandma, but she said if Lauren can have her mistakes forgiven by everyone else and be allowed to feel and do what she wants, then I should be given the same grace. But it was always argued that the difference was I was ending a relationship for a good while Lauren made a single mistake. Last month, Jace died suddenly. I don't know what happened exactly, but Grandma got the call about it. Then more calls came and I was asked to finally move on and speak to Lauren and support her as a sister should. I didn't. I didn't go to the funeral, and neither did Grandma actually. She said even if she'd wanted to, she knew the time would be spent trying to browbeat her into forcing me to reconcile with Lauren, and a funeral is not the place for that, so she was removing herself from that. Grandma has been getting crap from so many people in the family who think I should have let go of the no contact now that Jace is dead. Since I never answer any family members who think I need to forgive Lauren, they go through her. I hate that she deals with it. But she doesn't block them because she wants to see just how far they'll go with her. She said they're helping her trim her will, which I find funny and love Grandma's humour. But I feel awful that she's getting the abuse the rest of the family can't give me. It made me want to ask if I'm the idiot for keeping the no contact going with Lauren, and if people outside my family think I'm a monster. I have the support of friends and also some family. It's just, I know we were really young when all this happened. I know once Jace cheated with Lauren, he would have done it with anyone. So I know it's not like we'd have lasted like I imagined. But Lauren doing it to me just makes it worse because I loved and trusted and was there for her. So she betrayed me and even leaned on me when their cheating led to a pregnancy. Ever since I found out, I wish she wasn't my sister. I could never see even a civil relationship for us in the future. But I'm aware that it might make people think I'm the idiot and not her, especially now that my ex-boyfriend has died. So, am I the idiot? So, your sister willingly and knowingly sleeps with your boyfriend and now she wants forgiveness over a mistake? She knew what she was doing and so did he. If she didn't want to lose the bond you guys had, she shouldn't have done it. It's her fault and only hers. And if she wants to point the finger at others, then continue to keep your distance. It's in your best interest, clearly. Not the idiot, not even close. Your grandma is a legend. Grandma is definitely a legend. I'll add that even though she's taking abuse, she has the power to stop it, but she's letting everyone show their true selves. Gran is playing the long game. I think she's really enjoying the show. Honey, don't worry about Grandma. I think this woman is tougher than you think, and she definitely deserves all the unconditional love you can give her because she sees the truth and she has your back. Also, I laughed really hard at her humour regarding the will. Dang, they all help make the decision easy. Hold your head high and don't get guilt-tripped into giving in. Yep, let's be honest. They cheated for a while, not just on a one-night stand. She ended up pregnant and used you as a confidant. That is a whole other way of messing up. Your sister made her bed and now she has to lie in it. The rest of the family is just being manipulated because now she can play the grieving widow. Do I feel bad for her? Sure, Jace's dying doesn't erase all of their betrayal. OP, you got this. I, 33 female, am a horse breeder and own 10 horses. I have a little sister, 19, who was a surprise baby for my parents. They didn't think they could have more after me, so she is quite babied even now. They begged me to take her on to help her get some work, and I agreed but made it clear she'd have to work hard and there would be no slacking. She's generally been fine with it and enjoys being around the horses, though I do have to light a fire under her bottom at times to keep her working. The problem, however, arose when a local animal rescue asked me to help them. They had a stallion surrendered to them and they didn't have the capabilities to take care of him. I had room, so I agreed to take him. I've also arranged a full genetic testing on him to ensure he's alright, as it seems like he was gotten through backyard breeders. I've also made an appointment to have him gelded, as I don't know enough about him to risk him not being gelded. He has his own paddock and is kept in a separate stable from my horses just to be safe. I'm slowly socialising with him, but I'm taking no risks. I've been letting my sister sit in on my breeding plans for 2025. My main stars will be Dante and Willow. They've had 4 successful and healthy foals who will go into dressage. I know they work well together, and Willow has had a 2-year break, so she'll be ready to go again this year. The first warning bell I overlooked was that my sister asked about the new stallion and when I'd be breeding him. I explained he's not to be bred as there were too many unknowns. I didn't know his health, and I didn't have a good enough grasp of his temperament. She protested that he was pretty though, prettier than Dante, and I explained there was more to this than looks. I thought she understood and didn't think further about this. Yesterday, an emergency came up and I had to leave my sister alone for an hour. I told her that she could take an hour's break. When I came back, I found, to my horror, she'd put Willow into the paddock with the new stallion. I asked her what the heck she was doing and she told me she just thought they'd work well together and she was doing me a favour. I got Willow out of there, but not before the new stallion bucked and reared quite a bit from stress. I got Willow out of there and then said about calming him down. I told my sister to get home and not come back, shouting at her quite a bit. I then had a vet come out and check them both fully to ensure they'd not hurt each other. My one relief is Willow isn't in estrus yet. I had the bill sent to my sister at my parents' house. They called me today in a panic asking what the heck this was. When I explained, they told me I was being unfair and she didn't understand, that she couldn't pay this and was being cruel, and my sister was crying. I told them she did understand, she just didn't care, that she could pay or they could pay, but I wasn't. They're freaking out over how they'll afford this. Am I taking it too far? Absolutely not, the idiot. What the heck was she thinking? He could have killed your mare. Bet she wouldn't like that bill or the lost income afterwards. I know this is your sister, but this was serious and about your business. Your sister basically tried to be a backyard breeder, and that is even before we consider the danger both horses were in to each other. You cannot let this go. Any other business would have sent your family the bill too. And not just the bill, she can never be trusted again. OP, straight up fire your sister. No hesitation. I wouldn't have someone I couldn't trust around my animals. Setting aside the fact that she sat in on all your planning already and had no care for a business aspect, she put the animals in danger. Fire her. Force her to pay the bill or send it to a small claims court and collections. Then I wouldn't let her out of a cent, no matter what other backlash there was or who says what. The girl is 19, not 9. She absolutely knew what she was doing was wrong. That's why she did it without talking to OP. The crocodile tears aren't going to work. Your parents' reaction is exactly why your younger sister feels like she can get away with whatever she likes and then boo-hoo and claim ignorance. Let them know that if they keep coddling her, the next call might be from the police when she does something even worse, because for her, there seems to be no ramifications for her behaviour. My parents are the worst with money, and because of them we had times when we couldn't afford food or our power got cut from unpaid bills. Other times it took longer for us to see a doctor if we maybe needed one. They make enough money for that stuff not to be an issue, but they spend a bunch on themselves. My parents have expensive cars, they each have the most recent iPhone and upgrade every year. My mom goes to a fancy gym and pays for the highest membership tier. My dad collects guns and model guns as a hobby. They eat out at nice places. They buy nice clothes. They don't spend on us like that, and there are times they can't afford to do the stuff they want either because they already spent the money. They drained their savings years ago and never saved again. Our house is awful when they can't afford the restaurants they like or gas for their cars. My parents complained even worse than my siblings, which I didn't think was possible. I, nearly adult male, have 6 younger siblings. My siblings and I aren't close. I don't even like my siblings. No one in our family likes or loves each other. I'm counting down the months until I can leave and go no contact. I was lucky that my best friend's family was there for me over the years, and they taught me about saving, helped me open a bank account for the first time, and helped me make it so my parents couldn't access my accounts or steal my identity for credit cards and stuff. They even helped me get my first job. I owe them a lot, and because of them, I have money saved to help me when I leave. They even gifted me a phone and a laptop for work and school. I kept that I had a job from my parents and siblings, and I would be at my best friend's house more than mine, so it wasn't unusual for me not to be around. But then a couple of weeks ago, Lucy, young teen female, and James, tween male, were both sick, and they were sent home from school. My parents said they'd need to see a doctor, but it would need to wait until they got paid. It was maybe 4 days, I think, before my dad got paid and they could afford it, and my siblings were pretty sick. I didn't offer my money or say that I had some so they could see a doctor sooner. I wasn't about to let my family know the truth. But then my dad saw me at work last week, and he and Mom asked me how long I'd had a job and what I'd done with my money. I told them I'd spent it and it didn't matter how long I had a job. They said it did because there was more money coming into the house, and I said no. They told me for something like my siblings being sick, I should have spoken up and gave the money for them to see a doctor. I told my parents it was their job and not mine. They told me they didn't have the money, and I told them it wasn't my problem. I said I wasn't going to give money I worked hard for away so they could keep being bad with theirs. They told me I punished my siblings for that, and I said yeah, because they tried to demand that I take care of them and make up for the 2 of them. I said that's not my job, and I'm not helping out kids who call me names and act like I owe them just because I was born first. My parents still don't know about my bank account, but they know I make money, so now they're worse than ever, and my siblings are yelling at me more now that they know I can buy them stuff. They don't get why I won't step up since our parents don't, and me not paying for Lucy and James to see the doctor is brought up every day now. Am I the idiot? Your parents are legally responsible for your siblings, not you, and they actually have the money. They just don't want to sell anything they own to pay for the treatment of their other kids. If they can get their nearly adult ATM to do it for them. Not the idiot. Don't give them anything. You could go nuclear and tell a teacher or counsellor at school. They'd have to report it to CPS. If they have jobs with all this money coming in, they should have insurance. I've had insurance my whole life, and I've never had to pay up front unless I went to the dock-in-the-box type place inside a store like Walmart or Major. Even then, it's only $40. I would also really just encourage your siblings to do the same thing you did. Get a job, open a secret account, and start saving to leave. I fear that your siblings are becoming like your parents. Notice how they're not mad you didn't get them medicine, they're mad you won't buy them stuff. I'm gay and live with my boyfriend, and I have a younger brother who lives with his wife in a separate town. All of us are in our 30s. My parents are starting to get up there in age and are happily retired. They both are very comfortably off and have always been fantastic parents. My boyfriend and I have chosen not to have children, and my brother and his wife have decided that they would like to start a family. All 4 of us are fairly well off independently in terms of careers and incomes. Out of the 4 of us, I will probably do better because of my career. My brother and sister-in-law have a house and are planning for children, although their spending is fairly unsustainable. Recently, my parents have been talking to me about legacy planning for their estate and asked that I be the executor trustee of their estate, a few $1 million in liquid and illiquid assets. Since I'm the oldest son, have a background in finance and have a lot of connections in the legal space, it just made sense to them. Part of the planning involves establishing a trust that puts a fair bit of authority into the hands of the executor trustee even while my parents are still alive. My parents explicitly don't want someone outside the immediate family to act as the trustee. The contention that my sister-in-law has is that my boyfriend and I have chosen not to have kids. Her position is that it's her responsibility to provide the only grandkids my parents will have, and therefore it will be my brother and her that will be able to best carry on my parents' legacy. Recently, she's been pressuring my brother to talk to my parents about adjusting their will. The opening position my sister-in-law is taking is that I should be removed as executor and trustee and be pretty much cut out of the will. She's noted that certain assets that have sentimental value could be discussed after my parents' passing. However, the more liquid assets, stock holdings, the house, property, possessions, and insurance should be directed towards my brother, and through extension, her. My sister-in-law has been clear to me that since I won't have children, I cannot continue my parents' legacy and even said that my family's history would be wasted on a dead end. My parents have been clear that they want their estate to be equitably allocated. Now, clearly this is their legacy and what they want is all that matters. My sister-in-law's contention is that this is about ensuring my parents' legacy is passed down to future generations. Am I the idiot for not deferring to my sister-in-law's point of view? After all, she has a point that my family's legacy isn't going to continue with my boyfriend and me. On the other hand, just because I'm not having kids doesn't mean that I'm unworthy of handling my parents' affairs. Also, my brother and I haven't spoken in years because of my sister-in-law. He and I were extremely close growing up, but we've pretty much avoided each other over the years since the sister-in-law and I don't get along. My sister-in-law's issues have spilled over into my relationship with my brother. I think in the past 8 to 10 years, my parents have seen my brother and I together in the same room at the same time, maybe twice. Not the idiot. It's not your sister-in-law's decision how to divide the estate. It's your parents' decision. The fact that she's making a claim to a greater share of wealth just because she plans to have kids is just plain gross and old-fashioned. What if she and your brother divorce, or you and your partner change your minds about kids in a few years? Sounds like your parents should specifically write sister-in-law out of their will. Anything for your brother and his kids can be put into a trust. I would assume at your parents' wealth level they have advisors who can help them set it up as such as well too. Sister-in-law really does sound like a gold digger, but she might be looking out for her kids' futures. I think trusts in equal amounts for the brothers is the way to go. OP can decide what to do with his part upon his passing and change it however often he sees fit. Also, a consideration. Leave half of the bros, 1/4 of the estate upon parents' passing, specifically to his offspring. All future offspring that are legally his, thereby protecting the children of his second spouse and their inheritance. That way he can take some, but some are left for the eventual grandkids. Ha ha ha, I love that second spouse little drop-in. You know it's happening. OP, your parents need to know about your sister-in-law wanting the inheritance for herself. Update. I'm actually really touched by how many folks view this from my mom and dad's perspectives. My mom and dad have no idea that my sister-in-law and I disagree at this level. I chose not to involve them because I knew they would be really sad if they understood the depth of acrimony between my sister-in-law and by extension brother and me. I don't think mom and dad need the aggravation or the drama, but maybe I'm wrong. I really appreciate the sanity check from all of you. Over the past month, this issue has been unrelenting and at the top of my mind. I feel somewhat more confident in that my immediate reaction wasn't improper. As to my sister-in-law, I haven't responded to her texts or reacted to our mutual friends' comments. I also am too nervous to text or call my brother. Based on the responses here and from my friends, the best approach is to have an uncomfortable conversation with my parents. Thank you for the sanity check. I really needed it.